Hi, my name is Mary and I'm a trader. Recently, I created this YouTube channel to share my trading experience with you. Here, I visually demonstrate what I can do. If you're interested, join my Telegram channel, subscribe and participate with me in trading sessions. Let's start our trading. Let's look at the situation on the Swiss franc Japanese yen currency pair. Firstly, we see a downtrend. Secondly, we have rebounded from the resistance zone. There is a small accumulation and I see a slight impulse. Let's draw it right away. Drawing the impulse. Next, we draw a small accumulation. It somewhat reminds us of a flag. If the accumulation were downward, that is, if it were a descending accumulation, then it would be a flag, and we would work it out to the upside. For now, we're just releasing the situation. The AUD CAD currency pair presents quite an interesting situation. We have approached the support zone. The RSI is at the level of 29. In theory, we could have gone long from this support zone. Let's switch to our platform right away, open the AUD CAD currency pair. We currently have an ideal entry point. Let's choose $300 for 3 minutes. And we will go long. Let's do it right now. Open a trade for the upside. Here, it should work confidently in our favor. We already see that as soon as we entered, there was an upward impulse. I don't see anything wrong with this trade. It shouldn't go into a loss. Therefore, all we have left to do is wait for the end of the trade. The only thing that bothers me is this channel. If you can notice, there is a small downward. Channel, but the support zone is quite strong. So all we have left to do is wait for the end of the trade. Let's switch to trading view for now. And let's review the next situations where we can enter and work them out. The Swiss franc Japanese yen currency pair is still in the accumulation phase. It seems like we slightly broke through the support zone of this accumulation, but I'm not very confident because the next candle turned green and we returned to the accumulation phase. Let's look at the next currency pair. The US dollar against the Japanese yen had a very nice impulse, a very good impulse. If we draw a Fibonacci line, we will see that there is potential for a drop to the 0.5 zone. However, we bounced off in the 0.786 zone and started to rise. So RSI is currently at 64, not yet overbought. I wouldn't want to enter this situation. Let's pass on it and see what we have next. Here we previously analyzed the S&P 500 index. So let's include the euro to US dollar, American. Overall, there is nothing interesting here. Let's see what's happening with our trade. Still a whole minute until it's completed. We wait for this trade to be completed. We see that it's going in the positive direction. Meanwhile, the Swiss franc against the Japanese yen is starting to break through the accumulation phase into the downward zone. The positive aspect here is that there is no downward trend. Let's open the CHF and Japanese yen currency pair and enter a short position since we're currently at the most ideal point for that. Let's see what's next. The Swiss franc against the Japanese yen is moving up a bit. There are only 12 seconds left until the end of the trade on the AUD CAD currency pair. Let's open it. The trade is closing. The trade closes in the positive direction, $573. Next is the currency pair of the US dollar against Japanese yen. I see an approach to the resistance zone that we established in the previous impulse. In general, one could enter a short position here. However, on one hand, there is also a small support zone here if we draw it, which also recovers after the impulse. This could be a highly uncertain trade. This is a very high risk, so the CHF and Japanese yen currency pair is going negative. Let's see how the trade closes. We see that we return to our accumulation zone and approach the resistance zone. Unfortunately, I didn't notice this zone the first time because all the attention was on the accumulation. Nevertheless, we wait for the trade to end. Let's see what we have for the next currency pairs, US dollar and Japanese yen. Nothing interesting overall. Pound sterling against Japanese yen. Here's quite an interesting situation. We see a support zone. Plus, there is a small pattern that resembles a double bottom if we don't take into account the accumulation in the middle of the impulse. Overall, we can try to place this as a long position. RSI is at 49, which means it's neither overbought nor sold, but based on technical analysis, we see that we can enter a long position here. So let's go to the trading platform and select Great British Pound and Japanese Yen. We see that our previous trade is confidently closing in the negative, so here I open a trade for $600, which means I double my usual trade size. And in this particular trade on the pound sterling against Japanese yen, I'm highly confident. So overall, the only thing is to wait for the perfect entry point. Swiss franc against the Japanese yen. We've started to break through the resistance zone. We're gradually testing its breakout. On the Australian dollar and Canadian dollar currency pair, we're also starting to break through the support zones. We see that there was a small accumulation near the support zone, and then the breakout begins. RSI is at 33, which means there is still room for further decline. Let's switch to our platform. We see that the previous trade closed in a loss. We open currency pair. Australian dollar and Canadian dollar. And now we're looking for the perfect entry point, most likely for a 5-minute trade. To allow some extra time, we open a short position with a trade size of $600. We wait for our trade to play out. Actually, the downward trend channel greatly concerned me last time. However, now it's actually working in our favor, as we're bouncing off the support zone that was previously a resistance zone. We've broken through it. The resistance zone has become a mirrored support zone, and also here we see a downward trend channel. Therefore, it's a highly confident trend to enter with a double-sized position for a downward movement. All that's left for us is to wait for this trade to play out. Let's go back to the trading view and look at another one of our trades. Australian dollar and Canadian dollar is currently confidently moving in the positive direction. As we can see, there is still accumulation happening. Nevertheless, we have a perfect entry point for this trade to close in the positive. On the Swiss franc against the Japanese yen currency pair, I'm interested in this impulse that occurred. Let's draw a Fibonacci line. We see that we've broken the 0.5 level. We've approached the 0.382 level, but it's hard to say anything definitive at the moment. By the way, the US dollar against Japanese yen currency pair. We see that we did break the resistance zone and approached its retest. Nevertheless, it's a bit, let's say, risky to enter anywhere here. Let's see what's happening to Australian and Canadian dollars. There is still some time left. 1 minute and 42 seconds until the end of our trade. So we just wait. The British pound against the Japanese yen currency pair doesn't have anything interesting. Australian dollar and Canadian dollar is currently playing out. Let's look at other currency pairs. Australian dollar and the US dollar has this small accumulation after a drop with many dodgy candles here. And most likely we will see an upward movement on the Australian dollar and the US dollar currency pair, Australian dollar and US dollar. Because after such formations, there is a 90% chance of sharp upward impulses, so we open the AUD USD currency pair. We select the 3-minute trade duration. We set $300 for my usual standard trade and enter a long position. As we can see here, there are a lot of dodgy candles, very uncertain candles indicating the market reversal, showing us that there are no more sellers. We have been in oversold territory for a long time according to our side, and are starting to come out of this oversold condition with a fairly confident candle. So here, I don't have any reason for the trade to end in a loss. Meanwhile, Australian dollar and Canadian dollar has only 15 seconds left. The trade is currently performing well. Let's see what we have next. The US dollar against the Japanese yen currency pair doesn't have anything interesting. And we see that the Australian dollar and Canadian dollar trade is closing in profit, giving us a profit of $1,146, which covers our previous trade. In general, here we could have entered a short position as soon as we approached the support zone or confidently broke the support line. Australian dollar and US dollar is also following our analysis and playing out as I mentioned. There is an upward impulse. So we just have to wait for the end of this trade. Australian dollar and Canadian dollar has a quite interesting situation as well. There might be a downward breakout if we draw this trend line now and then draw the accumulation, which by the way is happening right at the level. So if we look at the previous accumulations, it was above the support level and quite normal above the level. But this accumulation completely overlaps our level. So in general, the liquidity may come out of this level and we'll be able to enter a short position. There are 45 seconds left for Australian dollar and the US dollar. We see that the trade should close in a confident profit. It hasn't closed in a loss once during the entire trade. The US dollar against the Japanese yen currency pair also has an interesting situation. There can be two possibilities here. Either we're currently rebounding from the support zone and going upward, or a double top pattern is forming and consequently will go down. So we need to wait for that. There are only 8 seconds left for the AUD USD currency pair and now the trade is closing in a profit. Waiting for the last 3 seconds. 1 second, done. The trade is closed in profit. We get a third profit of $537 and overall we can conclude our trading for today. Today was a very good day, or I conducted a very good analysis. It's up to you to decide. Write in the comments if you enjoy watching my episodes. Subscribe to my Telegram channel and my YouTube channel. Join my community. See you on the next episode. Bye bye.